Hi everybody, welcome to 12 Foot Chain. This week we're going to look at an awesome song by the band Free from 1970 called All Right Now. And the guitar player there is a guy named Paul Kossoff. And it's just one of these songs that is, gosh, if you could pick a song that launches like arena rock in the 70s, I don't know if there's a better song to pick. Unforgettable guitar and just the overall riffs there, and great lyrics, great bass, just everybody, drums, everything is just so tight for this great tune. We're going to focus on the guitar, obviously, and we'll spend some time going through his rhythm parts, and there's actually two different sort of variations of the rhythm parts that he does, and then we'll walk through that awesome classic lead. Hey, if you haven't done so already, can you go down and click subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll notify you every single time I'm dropping new content, which I do at least every single week. So let's talk about how to get your tone. So first of all, this song was on a Les Paul. If you got a Les Paul, great. If you got an SG, passable. If you have something with single coil pickups, you got to beef them up. But you really want this sort of wide open. You don't want mass distortion. You don't want it to be fuzzy, because if you listen to the recording, you can still hear a lot of clarity in what he's doing. So dial your amp to taste. Ideally, you want to get the power tube distortion if you get to it. So if you've got an amp, I know it's super loud, but you want to get the volume up so it's starting to break up. You don't want it totally maxed. It's actually not. It seems like that, and maybe when you see them recordings on them live, it's more like that. But it's actually, it's got some distortion on it, but it's not, max out your distortion pedal and max out your volume here and max out your volume on your amp. It's not like that. So give that a listen. But tune your amp to taste. I've got it sounding about like that, okay? So, all right. So we're going to be moving from an A, D, and G. So the chords that are sort of happening, they're not going to be played this way, but just so you know, from the music theory sort of perspective, it's A, D, and it's a G. And you would never play it like that if you want to play it like the record, but I'm just demonstrating. Those are the chords that are going on underneath the riff. So let's talk about the rhythm riffs. Now, remember, there's two different variations. So the first variation, you're going to start with barring your A at the second, barring your index finger at the second fret to get your A, and you're going to hit it hard. You don't want to hit this string though, the last one. So you're sort of landing on root, fifth, and octave. Maybe you catch this one once in a while, maybe, but mostly not. Okay. Then you're going to hammer on to get your D. You're just going to hammer those two fingers on there. Move back and forth between your A and D. Like that. Okay. Now, when you watch him play the next part live, so the next part, again, in theory, it's going sort of between a G to D, or technically maybe a D suspended. It's those sort of notes, but not in that pitch. So you're already at this D position. What he's doing is it's kind of a stretch. Get your pinky up on the 5th fret on the D string. Right? So it's whoops. So it's that shape. If you haven't done that shape before, when you're stretching up here on 5th, I'm still not perfect at it either. But when you watch him play it live, that's what he's doing, super aggressively, and he's super aggressive on the strum. Now on the strum, he's being super aggressive. I'm going to turn down here. Sometimes he's doing it. Other times he's or all those variations are sort of in there. But you can see on one of the takes that he's doing this, he's very pronounced. Probably every third time or every other time he's hitting that pattern. Okay. Now the second variation of that rhythm section, the other guitar on the other side of your headphones, similar, but he's playing the A shape in this way. He's grabbing 5th fret to grab the E and the A notes up there. So the chord is A, E, A, E, A. So just root 5th. Right, you want to get that in there. And then do the same thing. So every time you're hitting the A, he hits that high A. Right? And then on that one, he's not as many times doing the, it's more, and it's the interplay between the two. And if you listen to it really closely, he's not hitting every single one exactly correctly either. There's flubs in there, which is great. It just, it makes it human. But so don't be afraid to sort of flub in there. Yeah, so some of those are, some of them you can clearly hear not that he played it, not that he did that gingerly, but he could be doing other variations like, so I've got my open A, I've got a D string on 5, which is a G note, I've got an open G, and I've got a D note on my 2nd string on 3rd fret. You can hear that. So the sort of, what you want to have happen in there is you sort of want to have that suspended, D suspended, back to D, and back to A. So you have all the different ways to do that. You've got, on the first one, you've got on the second one, or what you don't want to do if you're trying to sound like the record is, I'll come after you if I hear you do that. Okay. All right. So, chorus. Super easy. He's living on the 5th and 4th strings. He's coming up here to the octave on the A. So he does that little, so you're at 12 on the 5th string, 14 on the D string, and with your index and ring finger, for me, and you're going to be bringing, or I use my index finger, on 14 and 12 on the low E string. Slide it down 2 frets, and then you're going to slide down from there, I'm a little out of tune, but you slide down your index finger 1 fret, so you're now on 9 on the A string while holding 12 on the D string. Why are you doing that? Because that's a D note. Right? So remember, the chords are going from A, G, D, A. So you still have it. So and he hits it on the beat that he comes back on. That A is sort of an upbeat. offset on that upstroke. All right, let's talk about the guitar solo. So this is really interesting. There's actually two sort of different sections to the solo. And it's sort of an interesting story, like pathway that he weaves on this song, but it's great. So the first part of the solo is going on while the drums are doing sort of a rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Right, just that. And it's breaking down. So he's playing this up at, I think, he's playing this up on the first position is on the G string on 14. You could play it a couple different places. You could play it, or you can play it on the B string, but I think he's up here because of what's happening quickly next. So he's hammering on from 14, on the G string, 14, and hammering on to 17. Does that little bend. And then I'm sliding up to the A minor pentatonic position up here on whatever that is, way up here. So remember, the big thing about Paul Kossoff and getting his tone and that sound is his crazy vibrato. It's so strong. Whenever you can nail that in there. I can't totally, I can't do it the way he does it. But so those first two parts again. Do it again. And then the variation. Now the note he hits next is that, but he bends into it, which is weird. Because you've already bent up. And it's easy to grab this. But he bends into it. So he's got to pull a finger off. So listen to that closely. He does bend into it. So I flubbed that, but I'll just go through this slowly here. The second time around here is the bend. I'm taking off my middle finger, putting it back on the B string on 2 frets below where I'm going to end, which is there. I'm going to right. And then it goes into the bass groove. Another great part. And now he goes, starts over completely, So he's done that little riff all the way up here. Now he's going to sort of take us through a little story, a path. And he's going to alternate from the positions down here at the end, between the second and sort of fifth-ish frets. Then he's going to move up to middle range, and then he's going to end screaming, up here. So, you're building, which is just great design. Okay, so first part is you're going to be hammering on to the G string on 2, and you're going to be alternating. You're going to be sliding up 2 frets into a note, which is the same note as the open B string that you have on here. So it's something like this. Give that a good wiggle. So, and he repeats that sort of idea up now on the B and the E string. You're going to slide into your E octave note, or your E note here on 5th fret B string. Up 2 frets to your F sharp, but you're going to catch that open E. Right. Next part is you're going to be grabbing the 4th fret on the G string, which is a B note, and you're going to be grabbing the 5th fret on the E string, which is an A, and you're going to be doing this. Notice what it's not. What it's not is you're not bending this note up. If you listen to it, it's not bending. He does a very slight upward bend before he goes down and lands on the A, but on the first part of that riff, there's no bend. Right? So on that last little, I don't know if you even make it all the way up to, I don't know if you make it all the way up to that note yet or not, but slide up an octave, and he just holds that note, and he gets that crazy vibrato. So now you're in the position of sort of the A major pentatonic on 14. And so you just sort of bar your finger over here on 14 between the D and the G strings, and you do one of these. Right? You've seen that riff before, probably. You're hammering on with your ring finger on the D string. So I'm with my picking hand, I'm going down, up. And you end on that big bend up. Do it again. Now you're going to take your pinky, you're going to grab the E note up there on B string, 17th fret. Make them scream together. And I don't think he bends it all the way up. It's not like he goes all the way to, he doesn't go to that note. Keep it sort of greasy. Now you're going to come up to your minor pentatonic position, and you're going to hammer from 17 to 20 between the B string and the E string. And then end it with a bend up. And you may want to make sure you're lined up with all 3 fingers on that bend on your B to really be able to bend it with strength and vibrato it. And then you end it coming out of it. So just walking down. Man, hold that vibrato as long as you can. All right, and if you haven't already, please do click subscribe and like if you do like what you heard today. Ring the bell. I'd love to be able to bring more content to you every single week. Leave me a comment what you think. Did you learn anything new? Did I miss anything? What other tunes should I be thinking about? I'd love to be able to do another lesson for a song that you'd love to hear. So one of these next ones might be the one that you request. All right, drop that in the comments or send me an email. All right, until then, take care, everybody.